Commander Sarah Chen stared at the blinking red warning on her tablet, fighting the urge to roll her eyes at yet another extinction-level threat to humanity. This would be, the fourth one this month. She took a long sip of her coffee, deliberately scalding hot with no cream or sugar, because apparently that's what command-level decisions required these days. Lieutenant Rodriguez called from his station, trying and failing to keep a straight face. The Drachnid Empire's official declaration of war just came through. Should I put it on the main screen? Why not? Sarah sighed, spinning her chair to face the holographic display. Let's see what's going to annihilate our pathetic species this time. The screen flickered to life, revealing a Drachnid official whose elaborate head crests and multiple rows of ceremonial piercings marked him as someone very important and very full of himself. Sarah mentally dubbed him Kevin because he had that kind of face. Humans, Kevin declared, mandibles quivering with barely contained excitement. Your reign of terror across the galaxy ends today. We have studied your weaknesses, analyzed your evolutionary history, and created the perfect weapon to rid the universe of your pestilential presence. Sarah glanced at her watch. 20 seconds in and he's already used pestilential. That's a new record. The Drachnid continued, his voice rising to what could only be described as a villainous squeal. Behold, the fruits of our superior genetic engineering. The camera panned dramatically to reveal their ultimate weapon. The entire command center went silent for approximately 3 seconds before Lieutenant Rodriguez lost it completely. Are those space velociraptors? He wheezed between fits of laughter. With extra teeth. Sarah squinted at the screen. The creatures were indeed remarkably similar to Earth's extinct raptors, though someone had apparently decided that what Jurassic Park really needed was more dental work. The beasts stood nearly 3 meters tall, covered in iridescent scales that shifted colors like oil on water. Their enhanced musculature rippled beneath armored hide, and each ended in wickedly curved claws that could probably open a tank like a tin can. They do look rather bitey, Sarah admitted, making a note to requisition more first aid kits. Though I have to wonder if anyone told the Drachnids about Australia. Or Florida, someone muttered from the back. The Drachnid Emperor, sorry. Kevin continued his monologue, blissfully unaware that his audience was treating this more like a comedy special than a declaration of doom. These perfect hunters have been programmed with one purpose: to track and eliminate human presence on every world you've colonized. They will not rest. They will not show mercy. They will start with New Montana. Sarah finished, checking the incoming reports. Because apparently evil alien empires also followed the start with the farmlands trope, she switched off the transmission mid-rant and turned to her staff. All right, people, let's get ahead of this. Someone warned New Montana that they're about to have some uninvited dinner guests. The warning, as it turned out, was somewhat redundant. The first attacks came at night, just as the sun set over New Montana's vast agricultural complexes. The Drachnid hunters, dropped from low-orbit insertion pods, emerged into the twilight expecting to find terrified humans hiding in their flimsy shelters. What they found instead was rather different. Jim McKenzie called out to his wife, peering through his kitchen window at the creature currently trying to figure out how to open his reinforced chicken coop. Remember how you said I was crazy for installing those military-grade force fields around the livestock? Yes, dear, Martha replied, not looking up from where she was calmly loading armor-piercing rounds into what looked suspiciously like an anti-tank rifle. I believe my exact words were paranoid and excessive. Well, Jim grinned, reaching for his own well-worn pulse rifle. I believe the phrase you're looking for is sorry, honey, you were right. Across New Montana, similar scenes played out as the colony's residents responded to the alien threat with what could only be described as aggressive nonchalance. These were people who'd grown up dealing with everything from bears to mountain lions, who considered wrestling an angry bull a reasonable weekend activity, and who kept plasma rifles next to their tractors just in case. The Drachnid hunters, for all their genetic engineering and programmed killing instincts, were about to learn a very important lesson about human nature. We didn't get to the top of Earth's food chain by being nice. At the Anderson farm, 16-year-old Katie was live-streaming the whole thing to her subscribers. Okay guys, so remember last week when I showed you how to set up those sonic repulsion fields for keeping coyotes away from the sheep? Turns out they work great on alien death monsters too. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The Chen family's automated defense system. designed to keep wild animals away from their hydroponics facility, turned out to be surprisingly effective against genetically engineered super predators. Mrs. Chen just added repair claw marks on outer wall to her weekly maintenance checklist and went back to playing mahjong. Back in the command center, Sarah watched the incoming footage with a mixture of pride and exasperation. The Drachnid's perfect hunters were discovering, much to their engineered confusion, that their prey had a distressing tendency to shoot back and set traps. And, in at least one case, try to domesticate them. Rodriguez reported, trying to keep his professional composure. The Peterson kids are apparently trying to teach one of the smaller ones to fetch. Sarah pinched the bridge of her nose. Of course they are. Because why wouldn't they try to turn an alien death monster into a pet? She paused, considering. How's it going? Surprisingly well, actually. They're using bacon treats. As the night wore on, it became increasingly clear that the Drachnid's ultimate weapon had a slight design flaw. They'd created the perfect predator to hunt humans without actually understanding what humans were. They'd looked at our physical capabilities, our relative lack of natural weapons, our squisher-than-average exterior, and assumed we'd be easy prey. They really should have checked our browser history first. Deep within the Drachnid Empire's central command ship, First Observer XT, who'd really hoped for a more impressive title by now, stared at the monitoring screens with what could only be described as existential dread. The human colony of New Montana had gone dark 12 hours ago, which should have meant total victory. Instead, well, Supreme One, he chittered nervously to the Emperor, the first regret to inform you that Hunter Unit 17 has disappeared. Disappeared, the Emperor's head crests flared in annoyance. Our hunters don't just disappear. They are apex predators, living weapons, the pinnacle of. Now playing how to trap alien death monsters and look cool doing it. Episode 3, the ship's AI helpfully interrupted, bringing up an intercepted video feed. A teenage human female appeared on screen, adjusting her camera with practiced ease. What's up, survival fam? Maya Patel here with another monster hunting tutorial. Big thanks to the Drachnid Empire for sponsoring today's content. She winked at the camera. Just kidding, they're trying to kill us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The Emperor's mandibles dropped as Maya proceeded to demonstrate, in excruciating detail, how to convert standard farming equipment into surprisingly effective alien traps. Today we're working with Mr. McKenzie to show you how to deal with these overgrown lizards using stuff you probably have lying around your homestead. Take it away, Mr. M. Jim McKenzie appeared on screen, casually leaning against what appeared to be a captured and thoroughly subdued Hunter Unit 17. Well, Maya, turns out these fancy space raptors ain't much different from handling aggressive coyotes. Just bigger, meaner, and a lot more expensive looking. The video cut to a series of clips showing various hunting techniques, each more horrifyingly effective than the last. Sonic deterrence modified from cattle herding equipment. Reinforced capture nets originally designed for securing cargo during storms. And in one particularly impressive sequence, what appeared to be a converted combine harvester that now functioned as a mobile defense platform. And that's why you always keep your farm equipment well maintained, kids, Maya concluded cheerfully. Next week, how to confuse their heat-sensing abilities using everyday kitchen appliances. Don't forget to check out our merch store. All proceeds go to the New Montana Defense Fund. The Emperor slowly turned to First Observer KZXE. How many views does this have? 17 million. Supreme One. And rising. It's trending in 3 sectors. Meanwhile, on New Montana, the human response to their alien invaders had evolved from simple survival to what could only be described as aggressive enthusiasm. The colony's community message boards had transformed into impromptu hunting forums, complete with heated debates about the most effective ways to take down their new alien visitors. Look, posted user Ranch Life forever. All I'm saying is that if you're going up against something with that much armor plating, you need at least a .50 cal. Anything less is just going to make it angry. Amateur Hour responded Biggie Hunter 2184. Has anyone tried using the industrial-grade mining lasers? Asking for a friend. The Drachnid monitoring team watched in horror as humans began sharing trophy photos. The predators they'd spent decades engineering were being turned into wall mountings and worse, Instagram opportunities. One particularly popular post showed a family of farmers posed in front of their barn, which now sported what was unmistakably the head of a hunter unit mounted above the door. What really ties the whole place together, read the caption. Though the HFY might have something to say about it. Back in the colony's command center, Commander Chen was dealing with an entirely different kind of crisis. "No, absolutely not," she said firmly into her comm unit. "I don't care how well trained you think it is, you cannot keep an alien death monster as a pet." "But Mom," protested Katie Anderson over the line. "We've already taught him to sit, and he only tries to eat people he doesn't know." Sarah pinched the bridge of her nose. That's not actually a point in your favor, honey." Lieutenant Rodriguez appeared at her elbow, tablet in hand. "Ma'am, you might want to see this." The Patel's latest video just went viral in the core worlds. The footage showed Maya Patel, now sporting merchandise with her own face on it, conducting what she called a comprehensive review of the Drachnid hunter's capabilities, complete with ratings out of 10 for various attributes. Speed 8/10, definitely faster than your average Earth predator, but predictable movement patterns. Intelligence 6/10, they can problem solve but get confused by basic misdirection. Style points 3/10, sorry but the whole extra teeth thing is trying way too hard. Overall threat rating 5/10, would be higher but they're really not great at adapting to human counterattacks. The Drachnid Empire's response was swift and predictable. They sent more hunters. Much more. "Incoming pods detected," Rodriguez reported. "Looks like they're trying to carpet bomb the whole colony with their murder lizards." Sarah watched the radar blips with mild interest. "How many?" "At least 100 units. She took a sip of coffee. "Better warn the farming cooperative. They've got that potluck scheduled for tonight." The massive deployment of hunters did have an immediate effect on the colony. Merchandise sales skyrocketed. Maya Patel's channel gained another 1 million subscribers, and Jim McKenzie had to expand his impromptu hunting tours to accommodate demand. "Now folks," he lectured to a group of excited colonists, "the trick is to understand their hunting patterns. Sure, they're supposed to be perfect killing machines, but they're working with borrowed programming. These critters are copying Earth's ancient raptor hunting strategies, which means they're about as predictable as my ex-wife on bingo night." The Drachnid monitoring team watched in mounting horror as their perfect predators were systematically hunted, trapped, or in some cases domesticated. The humans had turned their defense into a sort of extreme sport, complete with tournaments and highlight reels. One particularly popular event was the weekly Capture the Flag competition, where teams competed to lure hunters into increasingly elaborate traps. The winning team, led by Martha McKenzie, had managed to corral 6 hunters using nothing but modified cattle prods and what appeared to be a very large net originally intended for butterfly collection. "It's all about understanding your prey," Martha explained in her post-victory interview. "These fancy space dinosaurs might look scary, but they're just animals following their programming. Now, you want to talk about something really dangerous? Try herding cats. That'll teach you something about dealing with proper predators." The colony's children had turned the invasion into a sort of game, competing to spot hunters and marking their territories with warning signs that ranged from practical to bizarre. The Drachnid observers were particularly confused by one that read "Beware of Doug," especially since there didn't appear to be anyone named Doug in the colony's records. Even the colony's automated systems had gotten in on the act. The AI controlling the irrigation networks had learned to use the sprinkler systems to herd hunters away from sensitive areas, occasionally playing yaki sacks through the public address system while doing so. First observer KZXD drafted and redrafted his report to the Emperor several times, trying to find a way to phrase our ultimate weapons have become social media content that wouldn't result in his immediate execution. The humans weren't just surviving, they were thriving. They'd turned an extinction-level threat into entertainment, complete with merchandising opportunities. Supreme One, he finally managed. "I regret to inform you that the humans have weaponized embarrassment." The Emperor's response was cut short by another incoming transmission. This one appeared to be from something called the New Montana Tourism Board. Tired of the same old vacation spots, the advertisement began cheerfully. "Looking for something more exciting than your standard big game hunting? Come visit New Montana, where the prey bites back. We offer guided tours, hunting licenses, and comprehensive insurance packages. Book now and receive a free I Survived the Space Raptor Invasion t-shirt. In the command center, Sarah Chen reviewed the day's reports with an air of resigned amusement. The colony's agricultural output was actually up, thanks to some creative applications of their new alien workforce. Several captured hunters had been successfully reprogrammed to help with perimeter security. And someone had started a betting pool on how long it would take before the Drachnids realized they'd accidentally given humans exactly what they loved most, a challenge. Maya Rodriguez called out, "You might want to see this. The Peterson kids have started a hunter training school." Sarah didn't even look up from her tablet. "Please tell me they're not calling it How to Train Your Space Raptor." "No, ma'am. They went with Jurassic Parkour instead." She allowed herself a small smile. "Well, at least they're being original about it." The Drachnid Emperor's eye twitched as he reviewed the latest failure reports. His perfect hunters had become Instagram stars. His invasion force had been turned into pets. And worst of all, humans were leaving one-star reviews about the disappointing challenge rating of his supposedly unstoppable death machines. "Release," he hissed, mandibles quivering with rage, "the Alpha Protocol." First observer Gazizek dropped his tablet. "But Supreme One, the hive mind units aren't fully tested. The neural network is unstable, the adaptation algorithms are still in beta, and the psychological profile suggests they might be prone to existential crises. Release them." At the new Montana Colony Administrative Center, Karen Mitchell from Human Resources was having a normal morning, which meant dealing with the usual array of workplace complaints. Look, she explained patiently to the holographic projection of Jim McKenzie. "While I appreciate your initiative in repurposing the alien hunters for agricultural work, we need to discuss proper workplace safety protocols. They need break periods every 4 hours, proper protective equipment, and absolutely no unauthorized modifications to their neural implants." "But Karen," Jim protested, "we just got them synchronized with the automated irrigation systems. Do you know how hard it is to teach a genetically engineered death machine to water crops at the right pressure?" "I don't care if they've learned to do interpretive dance," Karen replied, pulling up her infamous spreadsheet of regulations. "If they're working on colony property, they need proper documentation. And someone needs to talk to Katie Anderson about proper Xenopredator workplace etiquette. Her emotional support raptor tried to eat the coffee machine yesterday." The emergency alert cut through their conversation like a knife through butter, if the butter was made of pure chaos and had teeth. Commander Chen's voice crackled over the intercom. "Attention all colony personnel. The Drachnids have just deployed what they're calling their Alpha Protocol based on initial scans. We're looking at approximately 50 enhanced hunter units with some kind of shared neural network. They appear to be evolving in real time." She paused. "Also, they're glowing, because apparently that's what evil space dinosaurs needed." Mood lighting. Karen calmly saved her spreadsheet, adjusted her name tag, and pulled up the colony's emergency response procedures on her tablet. "Jim, I'm going to have to put you on hold. We have an unauthorized hive mind invasion to deal with." The Alpha Protocol hunters were, admittedly, impressive. They moved with perfect coordination, adapted to attacks in real time, and showed an unfortunate talent for learning from their predecessors' mistakes. They were everything the Drachnids had promised the perfect adaptive predator. Unfortunately for them, they were about to meet humanity's perfect adaptive bureaucrat. Martha Karen called out as she power-walked through the colony's defense center. "I need those trap network permits filed in triplicate. Rodriguez, get me the environmental impact assessment for the new plasma turrets. And somebody please tell Maya Patel that she needs proper insurance coverage before live streaming from inside the combat zone." The hive mind hunters discovered, much to their collective confusion, that it's rather difficult to maintain tactical superiority when your every move requires proper documentation. Their attempts to breach the colony's defenses were met with not just resistance, but strongly worded memos about proper invasion protocols. "Form 27B6, Karen muttered, organizing the colony's counterattack with the same efficiency she used to organize mandatory team-building exercises. Subsection C clearly states that all hostile entities must provide at least 48 hours notice before attempting any major evolutionary adaptations. This is completely unacceptable." The Colonial militia, now operating under Karen's meticulously organized leadership, had turned their farming community into something that would make military strategists weep, partly in admiration, mostly in confusion. Tractors, retrofitted with salvaged hunter armor and weapons, patrolled the perimeter in perfect formation. The irrigation systems, synced with reprogrammed hunter units, created kill zones that were both effective and, thanks to Maya Patel's influence, totally aesthetic for the stream. Remember, Jim McKenzie instructed his squad of converted hunter units, now sporting official colony worker badges. We're not just fighting for survival here. We're fighting for proper workplace standards. The Alpha Protocol hunters tried to adapt, but found themselves facing an enemy that had turned bureaucracy into an art form. Every time they evolved a new capability, Karen had already filed the paperwork to counter it. Their hive mind consciousness was developing a migraine trying to keep up with the permit requirements alone. Commander Chen watched from the command center as Karen's organizational warfare unfolded. "I have to admit," she remarked to Rodriguez, "I never thought I'd see an alien invasion defeated by proper documentation." "The really scary part," Ma M. Rodriguez replied, "she's already planning the post-invasion performance reviews." The final battle, when it came, was less of a desperate fight for survival and more of an embarrassing demonstration of human resourcefulness. The hive mind hunters, for all their adaptive capabilities, simply couldn't cope with an enemy that treated them like an especially aggressive corporate merger. Katie Anderson's emotional support raptor led a coordinated attack of domesticated hunters, all wearing properly certified colony security vests. The Peterson Kids' Jurassic Parkour team deployed anti-hive mind signal scramblers built from repurposed video game consoles. And Maya Patel's subscriber count hit 8 figures as she provided live commentary on the whole thing. "Oh my God, you guys," she squealed into her camera as a hive mind hunter was taken down by a perfectly executed combination of bureaucratic compliance requirements and high explosives. "Did you see that adaptation algorithm crash? Don't forget to use code HIVEMIND for 20% off all merger-related merchandise." The Alpha Protocol's neural network, overwhelmed by the sheer chaos of human improvisation and Karen's regulatory requirements, began to break down. The hunters' perfect coordination devolved into something resembling a very deadly flash mob, if flash mobs involved cognitive dissonance and existential dread. "Attention, unauthorized hive mind entities," Karen's voice boomed over the colony's speaker system. "You are in violation of approximately 47 different colony regulations, including but not limited to unsanctioned neural networking, failure to file proper evolution notices, and incorrect use of bioluminescent displays in a residential zone. Please report to administrative services for processing." The hive mind, faced with the prospect of dealing with human resources, did the only sensible thing: it had a complete mental breakdown. First observer Kazix watched in horror as the Alpha Protocol units began exhibiting signs of what the humans were calling collective workplace stress. Some units started filing their own complaints about unsafe working conditions. Others attempted to unionize. A few simply sat down and began what appeared to be group therapy sessions. "Supreme One," he reported, trying to keep his voice steady, "the humans have. They've bureaucratized our ultimate weapon." In the aftermath, as the colony began the process of cleaning up with proper safety equipment and all necessary permits, of course, Karen Mitchell found herself with an unexpected new responsibility: integrating the remaining hive mind units into the colony's workforce. Now, she explained to a group of slightly dazed-looking hunters, "We'll need to go over the employee handbook, set up your benefits packages, and discuss proper protocol for collective consciousness in the workplace. And yes, before you ask, the hive mind counts as a pre-existing condition for insurance purposes." Commander Chen's final report to Earth Command was surprisingly brief: alien invasion successfully repelled through combination of human ingenuity, agricultural equipment, and extremely aggressive administrative procedures. Requesting additional HR staff to handle increased xenopredator to workforce integration. Also, please send more coffee. The hive mind really likes their break room privileges. The Drachnid Empire, meanwhile, was facing its own crisis. Their ultimate weapons had filed for asylum, citing better working conditions and comprehensive dental coverage in the human colony. The Emperor's head crests hadn't stopped twitching for days. Perhaps First Observer Kazix D suggested carefully, "We should consider a different approach to galactic conquest, one that involves fewer predators and more paperwork." The Emperor just stared at the latest transmission from New Montana, a formal complaint about the substandard quality of their invasion forces, complete with a 50-page report on suggested improvements and a strongly worded note about the importance of proper documentation in interstellar warfare. It was signed by Karen from HR. 3 months after the Great Space Raptor incident, as the Tourism Board was now calling it, the Drachnid Empire's diplomatic office received an unexpected transmission from Earth's Central Command. The message consisted of exactly one form application for interstellar hunting license, Class X Extreme Predator Division. First Observer Kezixi T, recently promoted to head of human containment mostly because no one else wanted the job, stared at the document with all 4 eyes. They want to know if we have any more ultimate predators they can hunt, he explained to the Emperor. They're specifically requesting locations with, and I quote, nice weather and good restaurants nearby. The Emperor, whose head crests had never quite recovered their former magnificent plumage after the stress of defeat, signed the peace treaty within the hour. The alternative was becoming the next trending extreme sport among human thrill seekers, and their insurance premiums were high enough already. Commander Sarah Chen's final report to Earth Command was a masterpiece of understatement. Hostile contact resolved through typical human adaptation strategies. Colony productivity up 15%. Requesting additional budget for Xenoperator training facilities and merchandising rights. Incident classified as yet another Wednesday. Maya Patel's vlog, How to Train Your Invasion Force and Look Cool Doing It, was picked up by Galactic Stream for an unprecedented number of credits. Her first interstellar special, Top 10 Huntable Threats to Humanity, broke viewing records in 17 systems. The Drachnids were notably absent from the list, having been demoted to beginner-friendly content. Jim McKenzie expanded his operation into McKenzie's Extreme Xenofauna Tours, offering guided expeditions for alien big game hunters, though he maintained that Earth's regular wildlife was still more challenging. You ever tried to photograph a honey badger, he'd ask his clients. Now that's what I call an apex predator. But perhaps the most significant change came in the form of Karen Mitchell's promotion to Director of Interspecies Relations. The announcement sent shockwaves through the diplomatic community, with 3 minor empires immediately requesting peace talks before she could review their first contact protocols. It's really quite simple, Karen explained during her first intergalactic press conference, her legendary spreadsheet now expanded to include 17 dimensions of alien workplace compliance. All sentient beings, whether they're trying to kill us or not, must follow proper procedural guidelines. And yes, that includes filling out the extinction attempt notification forms in triplicate. Back on New Montana, life settled into a new normal. The remaining hunter units, now fully unionized, had become model employees aside from their tendency to hiss at improperly filed paperwork. Katie Anderson's emotional support raptor finally got its certification, though the colony's coffee machines remained under strict supervision, and the Peterson Kids Jurassic Parkour Academy was officially recognized as a cultural exchange program. The universe, it seemed, had learned an important lesson: never underestimate humanity's ability to bureaucratize, domesticate, or monetize any threat to its existence, especially if it comes with merchandising opportunities.